Holy shit. Me just dancing here. Alright, let me take the music down a little bit. We'll keep it in the background. Hope it's not loud enough. So sorry, I just got in the mood of dancing a little bit. Welcome to my stream once again. How I'm doing? I'm fine. I feel good. How about you? You know what we are doing today? We continue where we left on our last stream. So we will do some live programming. Again, I know you guys hate programming and it's boring shit and stuff, but come on. So I'm not sure. Is the music too loud? Wait a second. I hope not. Alright. So yeah, we started in my last stream developing a Xamarin plugin. We got pretty far with it. We already added all the conditions that we wanted to add to our rating gateway. Well, maybe I just start Visual Studio and we go right into it. I don't want to talk too much. Just let's do what we do the best. So, 1 second. Let me open Visual Studio here. Alright. Here we are. So this is pretty much where we left the last time. Only thing I did after ending the stream, I committed all the code and pushed it to the public GitHub repository. There is a link in the description, so check it out. Feel free to contribute, but maybe wait before contributing that I finish this package and yeah. So like I said, we added all the conditions already. We have a boolean rating conditions, count rating conditions, datetime expired conditions, rating conditions, which was a generic condition. We have of course the base and the string match condition. That was all that we wanted to add, and the next step was to create the actual rating gateway, as you probably remember if you watched my last stream. For all of those who did not, like I probably already said now a few times, we are creating a Xamarin plugin for ratings, basically for prompting the user to review your app, and we are creating a gateway for this function for this purpose, which makes it easy to add conditions, which this gateway will evaluate each time a rating action is triggered in your app. I know, sounds confusing, but you will get the hang of it. I personally found that I need this kind of thing for my apps, because the old traditional way in adding all the conditions all around your code, like when a user triggers this button, then do this and that, that's just too confusing and a little bit I think it's kind of a mess. So I thought we should create this one central point gateway which handles the whole stuff for us. Yeah, without further ado, I think let's start creating our gateway, right? Yeah, let's go into it. Man, I don't know, I have this feeling that I have a lot to say, but somehow I don't know. Alright, so just a quick reminder, I told you guys already in my last stream, but I will tell you again now that I have already created this package, or the code for this. So I've done all the heavy lifting off stream, and now I'm basically just rewriting it again with you guys live. So it's not 100% from scratch, but yeah. Alright, let's add a new class. It will be our rating gateway. Okay, maybe it's best that I first write the code and then I explain all the different bits inside of this rating gateway class. I think that's probably the easiest way to proceed. So first of all, we want to okay, let's get started by just creating all the necessary variables of this class. We will have a dictionary which holds all the conditions. Okay, next, that's all that we need. Next, let's get to the constructor. I will make it internal. And parameterless. And then we will create a new instance for the read-only dictionary, and that's it. So why internal? The gateway will basically be a singleton instance, a singleton service inside of your app. We will provide, we will come to it very soon. We will create static initialize methods which initialize this whole gateway, and then you will have always the same instance of the created gateway all through the whole process of your app, lifetime of your app. Internal, because we need to actually create instances of this guy in our unit tests, and because this is a singleton service, I did not really find a better solution for it, so I just thought, okay, let's make the constructor internal, and then we add this attribute over here. Oh wait, which makes all the internal methods, constructors, all internals visible to our test project. Let me just copy paste the name of it here. Okay. Well, next, okay, like I said, first I write the code, then I explain. I always tend to do it the other way around. So we have this property, a public property, which will return our conditions as an enumerable. I wanted just to strip all. So I want to make the rating condition dictionary only, basically read only, also to the public, and queryable, so you can get all the instances inside of this dictionary, but you cannot add or remove them. So this should do the trick. It will be cast as an enumerable, I don't know how to pronounce it. And I might be wrong, but this should prevent the user from adding or removing stuff to our dictionary, but still they can receive the existing conditions inside it and, well, manipulate those instances. So the instances of the dictionary, they are not read-only. Okay, let's go to the next. Oh, come on. What the heck? it there. So condition oops. Now I can hear you screaming, Yoni, wait, what the heck, you didn't explain all of those properties. Yeah, right. No worries, I didn't forget you were there. So they are pretty much self-explaining, I guess, but just for the record. So as prerequisite conditions, it's just a check if this dictionary contains any prerequisites. Then of course the has required condition, the same thing but for requirements. And then we have this has only prerequisite conditions, which basically checks if the rating condition dictionary contains only prerequisites. So if the count is 0 or smaller, it of course does not only have, it does have anything inside of it. So, but if it's bigger than 0 and all of the conditions are prerequisites, we return true. You will see how we use those later, but now we will move on to okay, first of all, let's create one more property here. So this is our this is our probably through which you can, after initialization, access the radio gateway singleton. So let's get into the initialization logic here. We will have 2 overloads for that. they are static, of course. Oh heck. Rating view interface. So like the compiler, you probably also already wondered what the heck, Yoni, we don't have a rating view interface. You are right, we don't have it yet, and we should add it. So let's add a new interface here. It's public. And we'll put it in the root namespace. This interface contains only one method. Try open a rating page. Okay, so this is the interface for the platform specific logic. We will create implementations of this later. Now let's just go with this, and now we can continue with our rating gateway without the compiler or Visual Studio wondering what the heck we are doing. Just a moment. Okay, I'm sorry. Just got a message there. Alright, so we implement this interface later. Now we will continue with initialization. For our first overload, oh well, let's right away also add the other initialization method. They basically both do the same, but alright. Let me add one property that we missed or that I left out because we didn't have the rating view interface, so let's add that now that we have it. You probably wonder why do I look always down. It's because I have my second monitor, you know, from which I just read my code that I done off stream and all the other stuff. So I hope that's not bothering you too much. It's because I only have one monitor at a time, so, and I have a small surface from which I now read my code. I really need to get the second monitor. Maybe I need 3 in total. Okay, but let's get to this one. We need to create a private method down here. Let me just change the soundtrack because I don't like it. I'm using Pretzel, by the way. It's software for streamers, which you can use to play copyright-free music in the background, so your stream doesn't get muted or your videos don't get banned from YouTube or Twitch. They have you can use it for free or they have also a paid plan, which is 50 euros, I guess, per month. Oh, it's not that much. Okay, but let's continue. Sorry. A private static rating gateway. So this method just makes sure that it only creates one instance in the lifetime of your app. So remember that when you call initialize, it does not clear all the conditions that you added earlier or anything. It's always the same instance after you call initialize once or the first time. It does not create a new instance of the rating gateway when you call it the second time. Wait a second. Oh man, we have a lot of code missing here. I cannot do that yet. So okay, let's add two more methods here before proceeding. Alright, as always I will write it and then explain. Add an overload for it. Summary, never forget. Alright, so you probably guessed it what these methods are doing. It's just this public access layer to adding conditions to our dictionary here. Okay, so why do I have a dictionary with a condition name? Why not just a list of conditions? Well, you will probably understand that better later, but you want to be able to access a specific condition in the dictionary, and sure, we could have done it that way, that we add a name property to the condition interface itself. But I don't know, this is what I came up with, and just one thing that I want to mention, that the condition name needs always to be unique. So if you try to add a condition with the same name 2 times, the dictionary will throw an exception, and yeah, you don't want that to happen. I will not add a try-catch wrapper around this, because that's intentional behavior. You should just not add the same condition name 2 times. it needs to be unique. Okay, so over here our overload just loops through all those conditions. Wait a second, conditions, what the heck? Connie, okay. We had miswritten it. And then writing add condition key and condition value. Perfect. So now we can proceed in our initialization methods. We want to add the conditions. Condition name, condition, like that. Then the last thing that we do here, we assign the rating view, which will be by default null if you don't specify it. So but it cannot be null, so oh heck. Okay, now I would need the default implementation. We will call it default rating view. It does not exist yet. Okay, we will create it. We will create it very soon. So let's just the same code over here. The only difference is this guy. Okay, so that's all for initialization. You can of course also create your own. You don't know yet what this rating view is, but you can of course create your own implementation of it and pass it to the initialization method as a parameter, and the gateway will use that instead of the default rating view. To get rid of this error, we will just create now the default rating view. So let me see, 1 second. Yeah, so we just add one to the root of the project. There we go. We implement a rating view. Like that. We will inherit the documentation for it. we will leave that now. We will leave it here because we would also need to create the platform implementations, or at least the one for net standard. So we will come back to this. Now we got rid of the error over here, or did we? Oh, stupid me. Okay, now we got rid of the error, and those guys are ready. Just add the summary always. Okay. So we have covered a lot of stuff inside the gateway already. We are now able to initialize it. We are able to add conditions to it. The next thing probably one wants to sometimes do is remove conditions, so we will also add methods for that. Oh, wait. So this one needs only the name, condition name, and that's all we need. Like that. I'm sure I don't have to explain what this does. And then we will add one more. Void remove all conditions. So for each condition, oh no, sorry, I actually did not add a remove all conditions method at all. I guess my thought behind it was, why would you want to remove all after you... I mean, I have to think about it, but it just did not make a lot of sense to me to add a method that clears all conditions. We'll see. So, okay, I misspelled it. This one is not remove all conditions. This one is reset all conditions. So in writing conditions, there might be the need to reset them, all of them, if the user takes some action or something inside the app that would reset all of the conditions. Then you can do it with this guy here. Okay, easy ones. Not hard to understand, I guess. The next part will get a little bit harder. Now we will have the methods that will trigger the manipulation and evaluation process of the gateway. So basically you have to trigger the gateway. It does not know when the user has clicked a button or something. So when the user clicks a button that you want to trigger the rating process, then you call the following methods. Again, I started explaining before I wrote the code, so let's now write the code so you know what I'm talking about. We will have two overloads for this guy. Add the second overload. Oh wait. Alright. So the parameterless rating action trigger will basically manipulate all the conditions by the parameterless manipulation method that we created in the last tree. I'm not sure if the music is too loud. I hope not. We might want to change the channel. Let's change music. Just a moment, sorry. Let's go to ambient. Yeah, that's more like it. All right. Creepy. Ooh. Yeah. So now you should be able to hear me better than the music, I hope. So music is not too loud then. Alright, so yeah, we created this the parameterless manipulation methods for the conditions. This trigger will use those, and for example, if you use the count rating condition, it will bump, if you remember, it will bump the count by 1 automatically. And yeah, that's all it does for the manipulation part. So the other overloads, this one takes the condition name and a parameter object, which by default is null, so you don't have to specify a parameter. And we have a manipulation only bool, which is by default false. We will come into the I will write the manipulation logic next, so I will explain more about it very soon, but this one is basically if you want to trigger one specific condition. For example, if you have some action in your app that your user has clicked a button, and you don't want, and you have and say you have like 2 buttons, and for each button you have your own condition. So now the user clicks one of those buttons and you want to tell the gateway which button was clicked, so which condition should be triggered. And then you could also give the gateway a parameter which it will pass to the manipulation method. But like I said, it's optional, you don't have to do that. So then the third rating action trigger here, same thing as above, but with multiple conditions that you want to trigger. You might have a collection of trigger of conditions for one action in your app. Why not? So let's move on to the next part and add the actual manipulation logic. It's a big one. All right. Oh well, it's not as big as you probably now thinking, but we'll see. Manipulate condition state. Did I write it correctly? So of course we will have a string, the name of the condition, and the object, the parameter, the optional parameter, and this whole dictionary is actually optional, so let's go with that. Oh my gosh, oh my god, we are very far in this stream already today, and it's just now that I remembered to make the code bigger. Oh shit. Well, I hope it was not too small. But okay, let's get past this small mistake and continuing. Now we have it on 150%, and you should be able to see the code much better now. Okay, so we have this manipulate condition state, which takes a dictionary with the condition name and the optional parameter object, and the whole dictionary is also optional. So why? So for each condition in our rating condition dictionary, we start manipulating the conditions. And let me write some code here. Okay, what we do here is we check if the parameters, first of all, if it's null. If it's null, we will default to false here. If not, we check if the parameters contain the name of the current condition. Next, if parameters contain the key for the condition, we get the actual value out of this parameter dictionary. If not, it will just default to null. And remember, the object parameter is also optional, so it can also return null here. Okay, so continue here with condition. Okay, so here we are. So now you are able to see what all those properties are that we added the last time. in our last stream when we created the conditions and the condition base. And if you remember, we have here we have the explicit manipulation only property, we have the disallow parameterless manipulation property. This one defaults to true and this one defaults to false. So you have to check out the previous stream for detailed explanation of them, but here we are actually making use of them now. And basically what we do is, if a condition allows only for explicit manipulation and the parameters contain a key, then we manipulate the condition. So I mean, sorry, so if only explicit manipulation is allowed and parameters did not contain a key for this condition, so the name of this condition was not included in the parameters, then we just continue it, we don't manipulate it, because the user wants only manipulate it when it is triggered by a specific action in the app. Okay, so else if condition parameter is not null, that means we have a condition key here, because if we won't, so yeah, you know, so if we would not have a condition key, we also would not have a parameter. So the user has triggered a specific condition and has sent us a value, a parameter that we will pass now to the condition manipulate method. So you remember that we had here this manipulate state, which takes an object as parameter, and it will check if it actually matches the condition type, and will cast it to that type if it matches, and then it will set the current state to this parameter. Of course, this is only the default implementation, but yeah. So next, else if it is not disallowed by the user of the rating gateway, if it is not disallowed to manipulate a condition without parameters, then we just call the parameterless manipulate state method of the condition. So, like I already said earlier, this one, for example, account rating condition, we have an override here which will just increase the current state by 1 each time this method is called, for example. Of course, you could also pass a parameter. For example, for a count rating condition, you could pass this parameter a 10, and instead of increasing the count by 1, it would just set the count directly to 10. Okay, so just a moment. It's getting actually really dark for me here inside, so I will put on the lights. Just a second. I hope it's also better for you with lights on. So this is basically it for the manipulation logic in the rating gateway. Of course, you can always access conditions directly and just call the manipulate methods if you want to. No problem. That's why we have this enumerable rating conditions getter here. You can do that if you want to. But yeah, so much for the manipulation logic here. Now we will actually make use of it. So each of these overloads will always call this method. They will always call the manipulation method here, just a little bit differently. Did forget some brackets here. All right, perfect. Sorry, just a small hanger. Alright, and the parameters like that. Whew, that's a lot, and we are just halfway there. Yeah, I know, I'm exhausted too, but it would be nice to get the whole gateway done now on this stream. I think we will not cover all the things that I promised in my last stream. In my last stream I promised that we will create this rating gateway and we will create the platform implementations, and we would also create the unit tests for this whole project. No, no, we won't. No, we won't. So, yeah, no. I think more realistic plan is that we will now complete this rating gateway, and then in the next stream we will do all of the other stuff. Yeah, sounds better. So yeah, let's go, otherwise we won't get there at all. Next in the process of the whole rating action trigger is the evaluation. We will after manipulating the conditions, we will evaluate through them and check if we should open the rating view for the user, basically. So for this whole thing we need to create an evaluation method here, which will contain all the logic. Just a second, I'm opening it up in my template. Conditions. It's such a hard word. I don't know why. And we will have one parameter here, enumerable string, which is optional. Joni, get back to work. Sorry. Drifted away with the music, you know. It's a problem for me because I don't know, do you hear the music right now or is it too loud? But I hope it's just perfect, but the most important part is that hopefully you can hear me. If not, I am screwed. But you should hear me. Also always feel free to ask questions in the chat, and of course later in the comments. Okay, so this is a big one. Get yourself up, man. Rough yourself, man. Alright, let's do that. I will write the code and then explain. Okay, I will put it on a new line here so you can hopefully read it better. I will fix it later. So I will also get my comments here. I felt a heavy need to add comments to this code because I'm not sure if I can even remember myself what this does. No, it's not that hard, but you know, just joking. So, alright, so the first step inside of the evaluation method is to check the prerequisites, like as you remember, or we added there are these 3 different condition types. We have prerequisites, we have requirements, and we have the standard conditions. So prerequisites, they always come first, but they do not work on their own. So they need to be combined with other conditions. So it's basically saying that this prerequisite and it's kind of like an and, you know, it always needs a standard condition or a required condition in addition to this one. Okay, so if we only have prerequisite conditions, we will evaluate to false, because like I said, they cannot work on their own, and it's very important when you use this plugin that you make sure you don't have only prerequisites inside added to the gateway, because you will always end up evaluating to false, always. So I have thought about, should I throw an exception in this case, just that the developer knows, okay, this is wrong, and it will always evaluate to false. I might do that, but at the moment I thought just go with that. I'm not sure which is better, throw a condition or try to make sure the developer knows about this pitfall in the documentation. It might be better just to try to shout out as much as possible in the documentations for this rating gateway that make sure not to only add prerequisites. But like I said, I will think about it. So now, if we only have prerequisite conditions, we evaluate to false. If otherwise, we check if not all prerequisite conditions, if not all of them are met, then we also evaluate to false. So like I said, the prerequisites, they are required and they come always on first place. So if you have multiple prerequisites, they need all to evaluate to true before moving on. So if any of those prerequisites, if any of those conditions are not met, then we will return false. Okay, so let's now say all of the prerequisites are met or there aren't any of them at all. Then we move on. We move on in our evaluation process here. So basically, yeah, we check just that do we have prioritized conditions. That means now if you use the same example as earlier with two buttons, if you have two buttons and the user clicks one of them, now you trigger the gateway with parameters or with this specific condition name. Then it will be sent to the evaluator, and this specific condition will be prioritized over all the other conditions. Of course, prerequisites and requirements, they always come first before any of the standard prioritized conditions. I know it's a little bit confusing, but I hope I am explaining it somewhat good enough. So we check for this here. We will use this value later, and we also can get rid of the nullable warning further on in the code with this. So yeah, just checking it all here already, and okay, let's move on. Okay, I will again add it to a new line here so you can read it. Copy paste the comment for this block here, like that. So for the required conditions, it's almost the same story. like for the prerequisites. If we have one or multiple inside of our rating condition dictionary, they all have to evaluate to true, or the condition has for each of them to be met before we can proceed. If it doesn't, we return false. So the only difference basically with prerequisites and requirements are that requirements, they can operate on themselves, which is not possible for prerequisites. Okay, so now let's say we either have no requirements at all inside of our collection, or all of them, all of the conditions are met, and we move on. So else if okay, so now you see that we make use of all those properties that we created earlier. They just serve to make the code more readable, and of course also for the user of this rating gateway plugin, they provide some intel of what they actually added to the dictionary, even though I hope they know what they are adding themselves, but you know, they can check nice and easily if they only have prerequisite conditions added, if they need to check it. But for the gateway itself, it just makes the code more readable. So if we have required conditions, we know that all of them are met, but now we check if we have actually, we need to know, do we have some of them, and we do not have a prioritized condition. So it means that the evaluation method was triggered without prioritized conditions here. The enumerable would be null. Then we return true, because all the conditions that need to be met are met. I will also copy paste my nice comments over here. Okay, like Visual Studio is telling us this method is far from done, because now we can have actually also prioritized conditions, or we can have or we don't have any required conditions at all. So we start a whole new if block here. So if we have prioritized conditions, make sure our collection contains a condition with the name that was passed as parameter, just in case. So okay, I will put this on a new line here again so it's more readable. Alright, so if we have prioritized conditions, oh my god, Cortana, what the heck. If we have prioritized conditions, we check if all of them are met. Of course, we first check if we contain, if the collection contains those at all. So make sure you always write the name of the conditions right, because if it's misspelled, or how do you say, miswritten, okay, so yeah, then this will always return false. That's nothing you want to happen. So now the last use case, if we do not have prioritized conditions at all. We already checked the prerequisites, we already checked the requirements, required conditions. There's only one type of condition left now. Come on, what the heck? Create a new line. So the logic for this one is, as you have noticed probably, we only check if any of the standard conditions are met or is met. So we do not check that, make sure that all of them are met. Just it's enough that any of them is met for this to return true. Let me get the comments. All right. Oh my god. Do you believe it? That was the most that was the hardest part of the whole thing, you know. We got through it. Awesome. We did it. Whew. Okay, so even though that my mouth is very dry already, should get some water, I will recap what this evaluation conditions method does. Just a quick walkthrough one more time. We always first check that if we have prerequisites, that all of them are true before moving on to check if we have. Okay, so we check that they are true, and when they are true we move on and we check that all the required conditions are met. So they don't all, if the collection is empty, all will default to true. I mean to false. Wait a second. All will it will be true. Yeah, I checked it up earlier. It will default to true. So yes, if we have required conditions at all, they have to be they have to be met before moving on to the next section. So when we move on, we again check. We know already that if there was the required conditions, they evaluated to true, each of them. So now we just check one more time that, okay, did we actually have required conditions? And if we did have, do we have anything if we did have required conditions and we did not have any prioritized conditions, then that's all that we need. That's enough for us. We know that at least one required condition was true. We don't have to make all the other checks because we have already one condition that was true, at least one that was true, and we are not seeking for a specific condition to be true, so just return true and that's it. So otherwise, if we didn't have required conditions, or if we did have prioritized conditions, we move on to the next check. We check, did we have prioritized conditions? So if we did have, we make sure that all of the prioritized conditions, it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, doesn't matter. We check that all of them are met. And of course we also check that that the collection actually contains each of them. So if we did not have prioritized conditions, we check if any of the standard conditions is met. It's enough that there is just one out of many. Yeah, that's it. It might be hard to understand, but it's actually very simple. So I think we can move on with this. The evaluate condition is ready. Now we can use it. So let's move back to our rating action triggered methods here. Let's start with the parameterless one. If so if we evaluate to true, we will open the rating view, pop-up, whatever. Like that. Okay, so now the same thing down here, but with parameters. So now we come actually to this manipulate only parameter that we had here. We didn't use it yet, but now we get to use it. Basically what it tells, okay, I will write the code, just a second. Okay, I think I got it right. Yeah, so what it tells our gateway rating trigger process here, it's just that if we specified a condition name and the manipulate only would be false, we would use that condition name to manipulate those specific conditions and to evaluate on those specific conditions. Now there might be scenarios where you only want to manipulate a specific condition. So you basically tell it by setting this to true, that don't use it for evaluation. I want to evaluate all of the conditions that are in the dictionary. I only want to manipulate a specific condition, but evaluate through all of them. Simple, at least in my opinion. Feel free to tell me your opinion about this. So for the last guy, same thing, basically the same thing. But like that. Yeah, same thing, just we pass multiple parameters here. Okay, oh my god, we are actually getting this thing ready, I guess. There's only one more step left that we need to cover here, and it is the resetting of met conditions. So we will create for that also a method that does handle this for us. for each condition. So for each condition where we did not set the reset after condition met property to false, so that's what this property is for. We added this one also to our waiting condition base, and it defaults to true, but you can set it to false, which will prevent this automatic reset after a condition is met. And of course, yeah, well, wait a second, it might fit onto the screen here. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so all conditions where we did not prevent the reset and where the condition is met, we reset it. So like you maybe remember, we did add a reset method, or it is part of a condition. Our default implementation. Oh, damn, did we forget something here? Oh my god, let me check. Yeah, we forgot here to implement this method actually in our base class of the conditions. No problem, let's do that really fast here. So basically what the reset does in our default implementation, it just sets the current state to the initial state. Simple as that. It's a virtual method. You can override it, like for example our datetime expired condition does. The logic for the reset is a little bit different from the default here. But alright, good that we noticed that one. We would have noticed it probably in our unit tests. That's what the unit tests are good for. But now we found it before our unit test, that's always better. Okay, that's it about the reset conditions method here. Now we just make use of it. It's the last phase after evaluation, and all of them do it the same way. No parameters here, no differences. What the fuck? I think, let me double check this, but I think that our rating gateway is done. I have to check. Let me check. We have all of them implemented, all of those guys. reset conditions, add conditions, remove conditions, initialization. Whoa, 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 whoa. One thing that we did miss in our constructor, because we did not have the property at that time, just like that. So we got rid of the warning from Visual Studio because of the nullable features. We did not make this property nullable, so we should assign a value to it in our constructor, a default value. Now we did that and got rid of the warning. Okay, so check, check, check. Wow. All right. So much about our rating gateway. This is all the logic that we need, and it's working. I assure you. I tested it already. This is working. One thing that we are missing, but it's because it's not finished yet, and I will do it first off stream and then come back to it on stream later. But the caching of conditions, we want to preserve, or we want to preserve some of the states, of the condition states, after the app is closed. So as you probably have noticed, there is no caching logic yet, but I will add it directly to this plugin. Like I said in my last stream, first I thought about making a plugin for a plugin just because I thought the caching part probably requires some other packages, so I have to add references, dependencies, which would have been nice if I wouldn't have, if we would not need to add dependencies. That's always nice, but so that's why I thought, should I create a plugin for this plugin, so you guys would have the option to use it or not. But then I thought caching is such an vital, if you can say it like, yeah, if you can say such a vital feature for this package, that it would not make sense to create an own package for it. So I will add it directly into this package. I will add dependencies to Xamarin Essentials. And yeah, we will get caching. Don't worry, don't worry. And I will show you how, and I will also rewrite it here with you guys, together with you guys, so don't worry. I think for the coding part today we will call it. We did a lot today. Let me check how long was this stream. Oh my god, over 2 hours already. Just for this one class. Maybe I talk too much. I don't know how the time goes past so fast, but maybe I talk too much, huh? But yeah, I will also make shorter videos, tutorials about how to use this package later when it's done and when it's published. So don't worry, you don't have to watch all the many hours of me streaming this. Yeah, but this was the biggest class with the most logic and basically the most important part of this app, and it's now done, so bravo. Next we will add the platform specific code, and I will show you a little bit how to compile to all those specific different platforms, multi-target stuff, and then we will add unit tests for this whole thing. And let me think. Unit tests, default. Yeah, I think the package is done then. There's only the caching thing left, and then we will create an Azure DevOps pipeline, a build pipeline, which does run tests and all that stuff, and publish the package to NuGet. That's also something that we will cover. I'm not sure if we can cover all of it in the next stream, and I'm not sure when the next stream will be. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, I don't know. But yeah, make sure to follow, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and you will know when I'm live the next time. Also comment below. Feel free to contribute, as I said earlier. Maybe wait that the package is ready and then contribute, but you are always welcome to contribute to this project. So I might start a second stream today. It will be gaming, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I'm not sure yet. I will first eat something and then I will look into it. Yeah, feel free to join me. It might be a little bit more entertaining to watch me playing than watching me doing this stuff. But I hope you enjoyed also this one, and thanks. Have a nice evening, have a nice day. Bye bye.